Let's start with the dangerous and slowly work our way towards the most feared outlaws on the list. In the Wild West, danger wasn't just a possibility, it was a way of life. It was a time when lawlessness ruled the dusty streets and gunfights were as common as sunrise. Number 3, Jesse James. Jesse James, the Wild West's bad boy. He wasn't your average troublemaker. Nope. Jesse had a knack for stirring up trouble from a young age. At just 16, he decided to join a group called the Bushwhackers. Sounds like a bunch of tree-hugging environmentalists, right? Wrong. These guys were Confederate guerrillas during the Civil War, known for some pretty nasty stuff. Take the Lawrence Massacre of 1863 in Kansas, for instance. They rolled in and took out 150 unarmed men and boys. Then, in Missouri's Centralia Massacre of 1864, they didn't hold back, executing 24 unarmed soldiers. Jesse was right there in the thick of it, a real go-getter. After the war, Jesse, his brother Frank, and a bunch of their old Confederate pals formed the James Younger Gang. These guys weren't your average Robin Hoods. They liked robbing banks, trains, and stagecoaches, and they didn't mind adding a few bodies to the mix if someone got in their way. What's crazier? They became celebrities. Yeah, people loved them, especially in the South. Newspapers ate up their stories, making them out to be heroes standing up for the Confederacy. When they hit a bank or stagecoach, it was like a show. Crowds gathered, hoping for a glimpse of the action. Talk about Wild West entertainment. But like all good things, their run came to an end. 10 years of heists and shootouts took their toll. Most of the gang ended up in graveyards or behind bars. By 1879, only Jesse and Frank were left, with a big fat bounty on Jesse's head. Enter the Ford brothers, the only guys Jesse trusted enough to invite over. Big mistake. One April morning in 1882, while Jesse was busy hanging a picture, yes, a picture, one of the Fords shot him in the back of the head. Bang! Case closed. The Fords got their reward money and even got off scot-free for the murder. Now that's what you call a Wild West ending. Number 2, Billy the Kid. Henry McCarty, known far and wide as Billy the Kid, wasn't your ordinary outlaw. Nope, this kid had a knack for trouble like nobody else. Picture this. It's 1874, and Billy, just 15, loses his mom to tuberculosis. Not long after, his stepdad takes a hike, leaving him and his brother high and dry. With no one to look after them, they start stealing to put food on the table. Classic start to a Wild West saga, right? Now, Billy wasn't just about petty theft. Oh no, he got caught up in some serious mischief. One night he's chilling in jail after a robbery, and what does he do? He shimmies up the chimney like Santa on a mission and escapes. From then on, he's a fugitive on the run. Imagine the wanted posters with his face plastered all over town. Fast forward a bit, and Billy decides to go legit. Well, sort of. He lands a gig as a cowboy for this dude named John Tunstall, who's got more enemies than friends in the business world. One day, things go south when John gets into it with some shady characters over cattle. They shoot him dead, thinking they've won. Big mistake. Enter the regulators, basically Billy and his posse out for revenge. These guys aren't playing around. They go after everyone involved in John's death like it's the Wild West version of a vendetta. Shootouts, ambushes, you name it, they're in it. Billy's right in the thick of it, dodging bullets and dishing out justice. Of course, all good outlaw stories come with a twist. Billy gets caught, jailed, sentenced to hang. Typical Tuesday for him. But Billy's not one to hang around, literally. He stages a breakout that's straight out of an action flick. He swipes a guard's gun, taunts another with some sass, and makes a grand exit with a shotgun he finds lying around. Smooth, right? From then on, it's a cat and mouse game. Billy's got a bounty on his head. Every bounty hunter from here to Timbuktu's after him. Finally, Sheriff Pat Garrett puts an end to Billy's escapades with a well-aimed shot. And just like that, Billy the Kid becomes a legend of the Wild West. They say he's taken down 21 men in his short life. That's more than most people meet in a lifetime. But you can't deny he lived life to the fullest. Rest in peace, Billy. You'll always be the kid who kept the West wild and woolly. Number 1, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Robert Leroy Parker and Harry Longabaugh, better known as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, are like the original dynamic duo of the Wild West. minus the capes and heroic speeches. Picture this. Two guys who decided that robbing banks and trains was a better career choice than, say, farming or running a bakery. Butch Cassidy, whose real name might as well have been meticulous planning extraordinaire, started his career early, stealing cattle and causing minor ruckuses. His big break came in 1889, when he and his gang made off with $24,000 from a Colorado bank. That's like winning the lottery, but with more adrenaline and less legality. Now here's where it gets interesting. Butch didn't just wing it, oh no. He planned this heist like someone planning a weekend getaway, meticulously. He scouted the bank for weeks, knew every escape route like the back of his hand, and even had custom-made leather bags to haul all that cash. And the getaway plan? Genius. They had a relay system of horses, like Uber, but for outlaws, making sure they outran anyone with a badge. What's even crazier? Despite robbing banks left and right for over a decade, Butch and Sundance never shot anyone. That's right, they were the Robin Hoods of the West without the tights and with more cowboy hats. But even legends have to retire eventually. With law enforcement breathing down their necks, Butch and Sundance packed their bags and headed for Bolivia. There, they had a grand showdown with Bolivian soldiers, which didn't end well for our daring duo. They were supposedly buried side by side, a romantic end for the most infamous non-killers in Wild West history. But wait, there's more. In the 1990s, someone had the bright idea to DNA test their bones. And surprise, surprise, the bones didn't match their supposed living relatives' DNA. Cue the conspiracy theories. Some say Butch and Sundance faked their deaths and lived the high life back in the States, sipping margaritas on a beach somewhere. Whether they met their end in Bolivia or retired in luxury, one thing's for sure. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were the kings of Wild West heists. They might not have been sharpshooters, but they sure knew how to make a bank manager's day interesting.